Okay. All right. So this is going to be a quick and short video on why I identify as an American Indian when I did not identify as an American Indian before. All right. There's three main reasons, right? So the first thing that happened was Joe Biden, right? Joe Biden came out on the internet and said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. All right. This is the beginning. I didn't vote for Joe Biden. I didn't vote for Trump because I didn't vote at all. So I asked myself, if I didn't vote at all and I didn't vote for Joe Biden, I guess I'm not black. That's what he said. He says not black. So I'm not black. That's one. Two, the second thing is DNA tests and family. My family, specifically my father's side of the family, they have been aware and making it known that we're American Indians since as long as I can remember. They just did not know and didn't have a way of finding out which specific tribe or ethnic group they were from. They didn't have the capability of doing it. I do. Internet age. So I've had my family tell me that we are American Indians my entire life, and I also took a DNA test, and the DNA test told me that my Y chromosome is American Indian. It says it's definitely American Indian, probably Cherokee. All right. Now, the third thing, that was the second thing, the DNA test. The third thing is the records. I looked through the records for my family, and after looking through all of the information and filtering through many census records and noticing how it seems that copper colored people or brown people in America seem to evolve like Pokemon somehow. Because on some census record they can be labeled as a mulatto, and then the next record the same person can be labeled as a Negro, and then they can be labeled as a mulatto again, or you have two people labeled mulattoes, but all of their children are labeled Negroes, or vice versa. I kept digging. I identified which tribe they were from. We're not Cherokee, but we're close. We're close to them. We're from North Carolina, so our tribe is close to where Cherokees are typically from. I'll show that here, right? This is a U.S. map, all right? I removed the lines because I think that's very important. The reason I moved the state lines is because before Europeans arrived, there were no state lines, all right? We have natural barriers, right? So this is Virginia, that's Delaware, North Carolina, South Carolina. This is Georgia, that's Alabama. This is the Mississippi River. You see this coloration right here. This is all Mississippi River runs up here. The Mississippi River and the Appalachian Mountains, Blue Ridge Mountains, whatever you want to refer to them as, these are barriers. Now, here's my theory. This is just my theory. There's something I'm calling Asiatic expansion. All right, this, like I said, it's my theories. This is what's been going through my head. It seems to be that Asians or people with Asiatic phenotypes expanded out of here. Probably after Shamyaza and the boys fell from space and started to fuck everything up. But Asians expanded at a radius out here. So you have China, this is the Philippines, this is Indonesia down here. This circle right here, people have brown skin but Asiatic phenotypes, and people have very pale skin and Asiatic phenotypes here. But soon as you get to here, this is Papua New Guinea. All of the people here look like niggas from New York. But this island over is basically Filipinos, brown Asians. So their expansion stopped here. It's also interesting that Filipinos look like short versions of the so-called Native Americans today. The reason they do is because Asians also expanded. I hate how this map is like this, but if you're not familiar with maps, this is Korea, this is Japan, this is Mongolia. So all the Asians expanded. They crossed the Bering Strait. This is Alaska. This is Canada. They came down here. This is California. They expanded all down here. That's why Native Americans, they typically come from these regions in the western United States, and they kind of look like an Asiatic Mexican type of, they have those type of phenotypes. However, as soon as you hit these barriers, Mississippi River and then these mountains, the people or the American Indians, the Aboriginals on this in this area don't have those features because just like over there Papua New Guinea and where the Philippines is, the Asians did not make it here yet. They haven't really bred and expanded into this area yet. My theory is because they had issues getting through these mountains because Cherokees was running it, and Cherokees are basically Waka Flocka and Drew niggas. Like they not getting past Waka Flocka and Drewski niggas in these mountains. They just not gonna do it. So you have the mountains here, and then you have the South, the Carolinas, where there are American Indians or Aboriginal Americans still exist today. On top of that, because there seems to be some resistance, or let me come back to the camera. Some people have a issue with, they say African Americans are identifying as American Indians, but how would they know that? We have a big thing today. There's another pandemic of people who speak as if they know what they're talking about, but they actually do not know what they're talking about. They don't have any substance in the things that they say. They don't have any evidence at all. They have no records. They have no proof. They just have feelings and regurgitate things that they learn from their public school education systems. So there seems to be some people, talking about that, and some people online are going back and forth with Native Americans and Aboriginal Americans. They're not the same. Just think of Native Americans and Aboriginal Americans being two different ethnic groups. Native Americans, the Asiatic-looking ones, they're still our brethren. But they're just a different ethnic group. They're just a different ethnic group. All right. On top of that, down here, right? This is a barrier. This is very important. Atlanta's somewhere around here. Okay. You have these mountains. This is a barrier. So your people and tribes on this side do not resemble the people and tribes on this side because of the barrier. Okay. Also, you have Florida. There's wolves down here. There's many wolves down here, and wolves have been down here for a very long time. What a woe is, I'll try to depict what a woe is. A woe is a person who looks like a Haitian. They have very dark skin. The males have dark skin. They wear like grills. They have wick dreadlocks, and they like wearing gold. And they have been doing that for a very long time. They have been down here in Florida. Down here in Florida, native tribes of wolves, doing what they do today for a very, very long time. They've been tribes that's been all up in here and spread through southern Georgia. They've been around here, and the wolves down here bred with the Aboriginals over here, who also bred with the Asiatic Native American looking personnel over here, and you just get a smoothie. You get a wide spectrum of phenotypic expressions for people who already were here before Europeans arrived, before they did. All right. Remember, no place that Europeans arrived, there's no landmass that they arrived to where they're trying to extract resources from, because that's why they do it typically. There's no landmass that they arrived to, and there's not already people there who are Aboriginals. There's always people there. All right. If there's plants, if there's animals, if the food chain is more than 3, then you're gonna find Aboriginals there. If the food chain is more than 3, it's gonna be nigger. All right. So I'm coming back to that. So basically, I think it's about 10-minute video. It's a lot. This video is a lot longer than I expected it to be. So that's the main thing. There shouldn't be. I don't know why there would be any resistance for some Americans to identify as Aboriginal Americans when they are, because Aboriginal Americans exist. I'm not saying African Americans don't exist. African Americans definitely exist. However, a lot of people referring to themselves as African Americans today are not African Americans. They may not even be Aboriginal Americans. They may be aliens. My point is this: they don't know what they are. And until they put in the work, and until they do the research, until they find out who the freak they actually are, they don't know. They don't know. They might as well identify as this. They might as well identify as a bull, as a bison. I identify as a bison. They might as well do that because they don't know. How could they know? It's really strange to me. It's strange to me, very strange that people talk as if they know what they're talking about, and then you ask them this question: How how do you know that? And then they respond, and then you have a follow-on question. You say, How could you know that? And then you listen to their response, and you discover that they don't know what they're talking about, and they're still confident. It's like, how can you feel so comfortable talking about something that you have no stake in, you don't. So yeah, yeah, that's it. Shout out to American Indians. Shout out to them. Shout out to Hebrew Israelites as well. I rock with Hebrew Israelites. I guess for the most part. Shout out to them. I don't identify as a Hebrew Israelite, but I do identify as an American Indian. Why? Because I have evidence and I have proof. Okay, all right. I don't show up to the hospital. Like if they go to the hospital and it's like, hey, we need somebody who's blood type O. I have proof that I'm blood type O. Like I have evidence. Not saying that people who aren't Aboriginals or natives don't have blood type O. I'm just saying that all the ones that are native or Aboriginal more than likely has blood type O problem. All right. So quick recap. Sorry, Native Americans. I'm sorry y'all couldn't make it to the promised land fast enough before Europeans got there. Y'all had a good run, but we're still here. Here's another side theory. When I was thinking about wolves, being in Florida, as I currently live in Florida, there are a lot of broke wolves. A lot. There are Aborigines on the street too. There are a lot of wolves. They're very broke. Not, I'm saying there's some of them, some. Okay, like Haitians, and some of them very, very broke. The interesting thing is, I'm like, how can somebody be that broke for that long in an environment like this and survive? I said the only way you can survive being that broke in an environment like this for that long is if it's home. If this is home, that's the only way. There's no way wolves could be that broke and survive for that long, very, very long time, and survive unless it's home. All of this, Florida, like this whole strip, West Indian strip, there's been wolves here forever. Well, I think most people with brown skin knows this. I think some people who are I guess foreigners don't know that wolves they've been down there for a very long time. They've been down for a very long time. All right. There were Aborigines. Actually, all of this was Aborigines before. Then Asiatic personnel started coming down. We interbred with them. We didn't have like a world war or anything like that. And then the wolves. I actually don't know where these wolves came from. I don't know where they probably been down there before. They probably been here since the beginning as well. But yeah, so that's my theory. My recap on my theory is that the reason that Aborigines on this side of the mountains look more Negroid is because of these land barriers, the mountains, and then the Mississippi River, and just maneuvering through the terrain. That's my current theory on that. So that's my video for tonight. Your local American Indian.